You'll be going through a few steps while uploading your first transactional data. Let's go through a quick user flow. The first step will be confirming the metadata on your transactions table has all the data you want to track in the application in order to create your cost model record. This is a task that requires a system admin to make changes, but when you get to that step, we'll show you the fields included out of the box. After you confirm the table has the data you need, you will have the option to clean up your data by standardizing fields like vendor names for consistency. For example, you can unify variations like Office 365, M365, and O365 into a single Microsoft entry. These rules are applied during import, so it's best to set them up beforehand. Once transactions are imported, these rules can't be applied retroactively. This step is optional, so you can skip it. Next, you'll upload your transactional data. If you uploaded cost objects from a document in the previous step, you will be doing the same thing here. The final step is to tell the application how to classify transactions and map transactions into your cost model. After you complete these steps, you'll be going through some more steps to tell the application how to allocate your expenses. You can pull in any metadata needed to all of your tables in the application. We ship out of the box with the required fields and most commonly used custom fields. If you want to add additional information, you will need to customize the fields on that table. This will require a system admin. You can tidy up your transactional data via optional data translation rules. When you get to this step, you will see any rules that have already been created and the ability to edit or delete them. You can filter by cost model or field at the top, and after you create a rule, you should refresh the list to see the new rule. View a list of all your translation rules regardless of cost models by clicking here. To create a rule, click Add Rule. Fill in your cost model, tell the application what field you want to change, and tell the application what to save in that field instead. Then tell the application when to make this change by filling in the conditions. You can add new conditions using Add Or, and delete a condition by clicking X. Select Submit when you're done. In the setup process, you will see a list of the source documents you've set up for transactional data, if any. To import a new document, choose Setup Data Source and select the correct data source type. Importing transactions requires setting up a data source. You will need to select which cost model this applies to, name your data source so you can use this same data source to import transactions in the future, and assign a data owner if someone else is responsible for uploading this data. If you're importing from an external document, you'll then need to attach your document and continue on to mapping your fields. If you're working from a ServiceNow table, you'll need to tell us what source table that's coming from. Here's where you'll tell the application how to save the data from your Excel document or ServiceNow table to the financial transactions table. Select the source field, which is the column in your Excel file or the field in the ServiceNow table, and tell us where that data in the column should be saved in the transactions table. You can delete mappings using the trash icon or add more fields by clicking Add More. If you want to classify transactions to transaction categories for reporting or other purposes, you can directly map a field in your Excel column or create category mapping rules. These are rules that tell the system how to classify transactions based on certain conditions. This is an optional step. When you get to this step, select the category you want to see rules for on the left. You can filter by active status or state. You can view a list of all of your mapping rules by clicking the View All Rules button. For each rule, you will see the priority and state, a link to view the rule, the short description, the conditions, category it assigns to, whether it's active or inactive, and the cost model it applies to. You can approve or delete rules from the card view. To create a rule, click Create Category Mapping Rule. Fill in your cost model, select your priority, give it an optional description. Then tell the application when to apply the rule by filling in the conditions. You can add new conditions using and or, and delete a condition by clicking the X. Finally, tell the application how to categorize transactions that meet these conditions. Select Save when you're done. The last set of mapping rules you'll be creating are the transaction mapping rules. These rules are key to mapping your transactions to specific cost objects, allowing them to flow smoothly into your cost model. Choose the segment with the cost objects you want to review, then choose the cost object. If available, review the rules we created for you. These will be in a draft state. For each rule, you will see the priority and state, a link to view the rule, the short description if you've added one, the conditions, the total expenses mapped via this rule the last time your cost model was run, the percent of that total mapped to the selected cost object, whether the rule is active or inactive, and the cost model it applies to. You can approve or delete rules from the card view if it has not already been approved. You can filter by active status or state at the top, or view a list of all your mapping rules regardless of cost model. To create a rule, click Create Mapping Rule. Fill in your cost model, select a priority, and give it an optional description. Then tell the application when to apply the rule by filling in the conditions. You can add new conditions using and or, and delete a condition by clicking X. Finally, tell the application how to assign the transactions that meet these conditions. You can delete an assignment using the trash icon or add more by clicking Add More. The system will calculate the total percent you've assigned in this box below. When you're done, select Save. You can then approve or delete your rule.